Welcome everyone to the Sci-Fi Queens podcast, where we celebrate all things sci-fi, especially the women in science fiction. If you are new here, we ask you to hit that subscribe and notification bell and let us know
Mhm.
that you're watching and where you're watching from. That will really help our channel to grow. And if you want to support our channel, you can go to our website that's scrolling at the bottom of the page. You're going to find information on the show, the queens, the episodes, and our merch store. I am your host, Nina, and joining me tonight is my co host, the queen of the nerds, Tiffany, and,
Hello.
and special guest Nicole. Now, Sarah's on her way. She is running a little late, but we've got some awesome new scientists, new sci-fi book. We've got What Tiffany is Watching, which is a new little segment we've got going on. She's going to tell us what she's watching. And she's also going to give us some information where we all are. Each of us are going to be giving information on a Black woman in either sciences or sci-fi or an actress on science fiction, because this month we are celebrating Black History Month. Okay. So it's which is super important, especially this year, with everything going on in the climate in our country, in the United States. We absolutely need to celebrate Black History Month for sure. But we do have a special guest tonight, Nicole. How are you doing today, Nicole? Tell us what's
I'm
going on.
I'm good. I'm good tonight. Um, I think this is my first time on with the Queen of the Nerds, so I'm looking forward.
Yes. Be nervous. No.
I'ma bring
No,
it.
yeah, no, yeah, no, we're gonna start by saying that normally, Sarah, who is on her way, picks our movies, tells us what we're watching, and she is hitting it out of the park every time. This particular movie, which is Project Ithica,
Mhm.
Tiffany and I thought that we had a say, and we were like, "Ooh, yes, that's." And she gave us choices. Sarah gave us choices, and
We
we
did.
picked this one.
So I have
And
you two to blame for this.
Well, you
so
have the
we're gonna
Google
talk about
synopsis to
it.
blame for this. We were talking about
Yes,
the synopsis of the
yes,
it sounded
Noted.
like they had good material, they just
absolutely.
didn't know how to work with it, okay?
Absolutely. Now, Project Ithaca, if you want to watch it, if you haven't watched it, is on Tubi. So you could watch it there for sure.
Mhm.
But let's start with Nicole. Nicole, give us your initial thought, because we each watched it twice. So give me your initial thoughts on the general movie. We could go into the acting a little bit later, but in general, what went through your mind?
Well, in general, eh, so let's just say this is like the quintessential movie that kept me away from sci-fi for so long. It was boring, it was drawn out,
Mhm.
and it was pointless.
Agree.
I'm glad you said
Like
it.
this is and like you said, we each watched it twice. I watched it twice because I was like, maybe I wasn't paying attention, maybe I missed a
Mhm.
tidbit that kind of connected things. No,
No.
I wasted my time twice. Um, so it just was. It didn't give. It didn't. I see what they were trying. Like that second
Mhm.
go around, I saw what they were trying to do. It
Mhm.
just didn't get there, and
Mhm.
it was not giving
No.
what they thought it was gonna give. Yeah, no.
Now we have a comment from Jace, who has a podcast called Talking Tubi. So he's very excited that we picked a Tubi movie. So good evening, ladies. Hell yeah, it's on Tubi. And if he watches this movie, it may get destroyed on his channel.
Oh, for real. I
If you
I think
haven't followed him, follow him. He is so much
yes.
fun.
I think that
Uh,
it I think like with most sci-fi movies, I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt just because I know sometimes they gotta cut a lot of stuff. If the budget ain't there, then it's not gonna do well. But I think they failed on the storyline. I think the storyline had potential with the government conspiracy. It definitely had potential to go there and like give us that like uneasy feeling that we get when we watch like a government conspiracy with aliens, because we know the government hire aliens. That's like a fact. But so if we see it in a movie, we like the government involved. Like we can go with that. That's a plot we can follow.
Yes,
they left the storyline on the cutting room floor. Like the movie was only an hour and 25 minutes. They could have made it 2 hours and got to the good.
That's so how I
felt. Yes, I felt like there was so many good opportunities missed. The one opportunity, like you, Tiffany, that I saw that they missed the mark was explore the government, conspiracy part of it, about covering about aliens, and they didn't. And I think they were trying to do that whole Area 51 kind of alien, and they could have done so much. There has been 2 TV series on that concept alone, and many movies and documentaries done.
But we like that. We like
and
that
we
part.
love it. We love it.
See that. Like even like in the alien movies, having like a evil corporation or government being like behind something, we like to know that there's a bad guy besides like the obvious bad guy, which is the alien. Also I think that the one good thing I took out of the movie was that they kept the aliens kind of mysterious and ambiguous. Like that was the only thing that kind of worked for me. Otherwise, I think that those aliens.
Go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead.
Okay. Because even the alien itself, I felt like it wasn't even original because I felt like it was giving very much aliens. Yeah, it was giving very much aliens. And then when it opened, it gave the Shaka Horror.
Yes. I was gonna say CBC more. Yes, that too. I was thinking
what? Like even that, like. Okay, fine. There's only but so much like aliens you could come up with, but like it was just like there was nothing, and I think there was just so much hodgepodge of like sci-fi stuff, like you were saying, from like the aliens, the government conspiracy, but then now we're in the spaceship or wherever they will be held. That wasn't explored.
That was the question too. Were they in a spaceship? Really?
Where are they?
The government project? Like at the end, it was like they just showed up. I'm like, wait, what? Were they in space?
Yeah, like I was very confused about that too because I felt like they didn't really explain who these aliens were. There was no name to them. There was what were they doing? Were they trying to get the people that had crashed, the aliens that had crash landed? Were they trying to get them back? And why? They kind of touched on what happened with this little girl, but they really didn't. They sort of hinted at it, but they didn't explore that. And what happens to her? She was taken away to do what? Was she part now of the spacecraft? And they literally stole this little girl from her family and gave the actual family a dead child. Like, are we not okay
that
with
was
it?
Something we could have went with that a little bit more. I think I feel like the characters all written by different people. Honestly.
Yes, like her family could have been involved, right? Oh, you stole my child. That's my child. Like something.
But even if they weren't involved, then we know that they gave that family a dead child. Like explore that more because that goes deeper into like the conspiracy, like the government involvement. So like that could have been a part of that. Like it just was not
even introducing like that government agent or whatever, and he still didn't remember what happened to him. As he kept remembering, I was just hoping for like a
eureka moment,
like one of the characters to figure it out, or I was hoping for something. I don't
And the
know.
thing
It
was
just
weird because every character was from a different year, like a
time,
different
right?
timeline, right? But they all seem to have been asleep for all this time and suddenly are awake and aware of the torture that they're going through. They didn't explain what happened between 1969 when they took one person and,
Right,
2025 when they took
right.
another. Like there was no explanation. And there was
What they,
a
yeah.
real clear sense of how the general, that doctor who was really involved with the little girl, got
Mm-hmm,
there. What? Because there was
mm-hmm.
some sort of psychic blast. He now physically disappeared into this. And why were they all brought back into an icy thunder of Chicago? And some of them were naked. Like, are you naked? They didn't even act cold. I'm
I
sorry,
was
but that
like,
was not real.
what?
They were
I think
shirtless and they
Yeah.
were like, let's start walking without
we are not
shoes in
allowed
the
to
cold.
select the film anymore.
No, we're not. I will refuse to give any feedback when Sarah picks movies. I will tell her, you pick
Yeah,
it.
we're
Please
gonna
stop.
just be like,
Stop.
no,
No
no, no, you
choices.
pick.
No
Tell us what to
choices.
watch. We don't need to
Yes.
know. Don't give us
Yes.
options because we
No,
judged
no
the book by its
Oh.
option.
cover and we judged wrong. We judged
Yes,
wrong.
we did.
And
I
what
looked
else?
up in our meeting. I looked up the picture, and
Right.
Tiffany looked up the synopsis. She
Mhm,
read it. We were like,
mhm.
"Oh, this sounds great."
Like, yeah, that
And in
sounds good.
theory, had they done what the synopsis gave, it would have been a good movie. But
Mhm.
they
Right,
didn't
right.
touch on
Explored.
any of it.
They could have in the beginning. They could have, everybody's from different time periods, so they could have explored that. They could have said either they took them in different times or the aliens have time travel technology. I would have been okay with that as
Yes,
well. I
because
would have
there
been
was
okay with that as well.
no conversation about that either.
Right. And I think in the
None.
synopsis, when it says they're all from different times, in my mind, I'm like, oh, they snatching them from different time periods at the same time. Like they just like, it's like a body snatcher movie.
That's kind of like what they were giving. They were giving. They were,
This was two movies put together and and
yeah.
and and they missed the middle, like a climax. We didn't have like a,
Yeah.
oh my God, oh
Yeah.
my God, oh my God. And then like a, oh, it's getting resolved. We didn't have it, there wasn't a natural like up and
There
down.
was no middle
No.
part to it. It was like what, and
Yeah.
then why those, what was it, like six people? So why? Because there was a whole ship, because they said it, we
Mm-hmm.
see it at the end. There's
Mm-hmm.
more than just
Them. Right.
those core people that we see. So
Yes.
why them? Why a convict? Why a rocker? Why a drug addict? Why
Mm-hmm.
a, like,
Exactly.
so many things? Like, why the 70s? Why?
Now, I'm sorry to Jace, but this was my first Tubi movie, and
No, I have to say, Tubi has really good
and
movies,
I'm
and it's got really
y'all gonna have to put
B-rated
me y'all gonna have to put
movies.
me on to something good, or I'm gonna have to leave it alone. Yeah, put me on to something good. I'm gonna have to move on.
Mm-mm.
But no, I did see some stuff on there when after I watched that movie. I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. But yeah, that one was a bust for me. I think, I think that I went into it kind of thinking it wasn't gonna be good just because I read the reviews first. That was my biggest mistake. And
Mm,
so I think I went into it because I was like, oh, let me see what everybody's saying about this, so I can kind of have an idea. But maybe I shouldn't have did that because I read the reviews. People were like, it was missing plot points. I was like, dang, for real. So when I watched it, I was like, they're not gonna talk
It
about that
was
anymore.
missing a
but it
whole
was,
plot.
I was like, that's done. They're not doing that anymore.
Yeah,
They're
but
not.
I never.
it
And what happened to this little girl? Is she now part of the ship? It felt like,
Yeah.
and Nicole doesn't know too much about this. I don't think she will understand the reference, but we can get to that later, after the show if you don't get the reference. But I felt like, is she now the board queen?
I
Because
was
I
just
felt
gonna
like, is
say,
she right?
is
It
she the board
felt like
queen now?
they were trying to make it this space odyssey that it really
Mm-hmm.
wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like
Mm-hmm.
there was so many missing elements. Like, what happens to this little girl now that she's
Right.
part of this? And why was it that she kept revisiting each of these people's past and rewriting it? Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Yes,
Mhm.
the drug addict lady,
Oh
when
yeah,
she
oh
was
yeah,
a
oh yeah, oh
child,
yeah, oh
was
yeah.
Yeah.
sexually
Mm-hmm.
abused, right? She
Mhm.
was
Mm-hmm.
abused. And she rewrote that. It didn't happen. And,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of things that she, but I didn't understand her point because I thought she was
Right,
giving them some sort of resolution, right?
right.
And
So they
that
could
if
stop
they
feeling tortured.
reached, yes, but
Mm-hmm.
it made them more tortured. It was very confusing. It was
Yeah,
very confusing. Okay, so
yeah.
Jay says embrace the trashiness of Tubi. But
It's part of the lore.
I have to,
It's
yes,
part of the
but
lore.
I have to say I do enjoy a good B-rated kind of
Yeah, yeah.
trashy
Me too.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Tubi does have a
But
lot of those,
but
but Tubi does
but with
also have a lot of
plot,
good shows.
I want to be like, ooh, oh yeah, okay, that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like I want to
I was
feel
coming here
satiated after I
hoping
watch it.
I was coming here hoping that Tiffany could conclude this for us, like can
No,
bring this
child.
movie
I
to
I
some sort of. I mean, she is the TV expert, right?
I had questions. Where they at? Was this an experiment? Why these characters? This little
She got
girl
the
should have
questions
been
we
left
got.
out. Right. I got the same
Yes.
questions y'all got. Uh-huh.
And the,
Hmm.
did was anyone else disturbed at the end where they're just in the middle of nowhere in some sort of it looked like Chicago. It looked like it was freezing
Right.
cold
Right.
snow, no direction, no one helping them. What year did they land?
So that's my big
Bet.
question. You just asked my biggest
Bet.
question. Like you
They're
letting
all
know,
from different time periods.
you letting me in 1979. I'm from 1979 or 78. I have no idea what a cell phone is. I have no idea what a credit card is. I
You
have
just
no
released.
idea. And you leaving me where?
You just released, baby. Figure it out. Movie over. And
And why?
scene.
And again,
And
and
scene.
yes, and my question also is, why was some of them naked?
You just stuck on that
Alien
thinking
movies, eventually people gotta
What's
get naked.
happening?
I think it's just part of the
Experiment.
alien movie formula. People gotta get naked, Nita. They just aliens like our naked bodies, okay? It's a
Yeah,
thing.
Hey, maybe clothes were involved. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Just saying.
They like it.
I
They
Just
like
don't
it.
saying.
know.
And if the government was involved, then that's just other questions for the nakedness. But aliens in general love to see us naked.
They do. In every movie where there's an
Mhm.
alien invasion,
They either in their
someone's
underwear or
naked.
naked. Mm-hmm.
Yes, underwear, naked.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something. This,
They
but
can't
and
get to us
I,
if we ain't got our skin out. Mm-hmm.
hey,
You,
Queen
Hey,
of
girl.
Darkness.
Hello, girl.
Okay,
Hey,
so
girl.
we have a
Air turn.
request for you. Never
uh-oh.
let Tiffany and I pick a movie. Just don't give us choices. Just pick it.
They're not
Okay.
allowed to pick
Right.
anymore.
Tiffany's holding an emotional support. Nothing. She's broken.
I was gonna
Yeah.
help her through
I'm
this.
rocking back and forth in the fetal position. Oh, Elmo, comfort me. I'm telling you.
Oh goodness.
So you just got here, Sarah.
Yeah.
Tell us what you thought of the movie
To the
before we
chaos.
start telling you what's going on in this conversation.
Well, it's one of those, to me, I mean, it's a good psychological thriller and it's sci-fi because it's aliens and all that. But then, like, they were talking about it's a bioengineered ship to keep an entity alive, but the original pilot died at like Roswell or whatever. So
Yeah.
then they made a replacement pilot. So like was Sarah the entity they were trying to keep alive the whole time? And like it was one of those um like an infinite loop, like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And it just keeps going, and like they picked people that like the guy that she knew because his pain would be more because it was like he could see her, and I don't know. I don't know. And still,
You look
It
as
didn't make sense to
confused
me.
as a
I think you made it make more sense for me. Actually, I was
that's for
yeah,
real.
yeah. I, I didn't
I
even get
forgot all
that.
about that part too.
Look,
because they were
I didn't
talking
get
about
that
that.
part.
because
Listen,
that's when when I can't remember what the black lady's name was, but when she was in her safe space with Sarah and then her
yes.
grandma, the grandma, but the grandma
Mhm,
wasn't really her grandma, but it wasn't an
mhm,
alien either. It
Mhm.
was
mhm,
like the AI that was trying to like bridge the gap and
mhm,
telling her like because it was a computer, it had all the facts. It said African American taken in this day, you've been online for this many days.
mhm.
Um, that AI told her, well, where are we? What is this? Well, it's a bioengineered ship. So to me, it was like it's almost like a Borg ship that was feeding off
Yes,
of
that's exactly
like
what Tiffany and I said.
like it was, but it was feeding off of their fear. That was the
Mhm.
power that
Yes.
was,
Yes.
um, but it kind of almost had that. Remember in Monsters Inc. when they were feeding off of people's? I know this is going to be really funny.
Mhm.
Um,
Nightmares.
They found it. Yeah, they took it
the
higher.
nightmares and the screams, but then they found out laughter was more powerful. It kind of had that vibe that they were like, maybe if they like cut off a
Mm.
happiness, it would have been easier and would have been, you know what it, you know what I
Okay.
mean? I don't know.
It's not. It's
I
kind of
That
the sign when you compare a sci-fi movie to a
To a
Disney Pixar
children's
film.
movie.
that's never
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
sorry, she's got
Mhm.
Elmo. I mean, we got to go there.
I'm still here.
And Nicole and I noticed something immediately when we were watching it together was when they took the lady from 1969, the African American lady, to talk to, I'm assuming the grandmother or her
Hmm.
mother.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, why they had to play this character the way they played this character?
I was
Yeah.
gonna
Well, because
ask
Yeah.
she,
that.
well, she was,
I have all
Yeah.
kinds of problems with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they did the
I
very
even wrote this
stereotypical
one.
thing, but it was like
I
I
looked
didn't
it up
see it as
after.
like the racial thing. I saw it more as um
Yeah.
like um
I'm with
the
you too.
I'm trying to articulate it. You know how like the grandmothers always have the family knowledge and they know all the recipes and they know everybody's history. It was kind
Right.
of I saw it like that she was more prone to trust her because it was her grandma, so that information that she was trying to relay would be more believable and listened to versus just like
And I hear that.
a
I think
form
that
Right.
that was the purpose,
Right.
but I think that how they made the grandmother express herself when the lady is from Chicago, not from the deep south,
yeah.
it didn't make sense. It made me feel
Well,
like, oh, okay, so they're assuming everyone
Mhm.
who's African American is from the deep south and sounds this way because the lady's
no,
from
but maybe
Chicago,
but
not
but just because the gal is from because she's a teacher in Chicago doesn't mean her family isn't from the South.
maybe, but they didn't
So I don't.
express that.
Well, no,
So
they
I
didn't.
was
They just.
like, hmm.
But it was like
Yeah.
it was. And I didn't really think it was deep south with all the snow and how she was outside playing when she was because that was her running around. She's like, that's
Right.
me. Um, that it was more like Appalachia. That's what I got. That was the vibe that I got, not like the deep
Right.
south.
Right.
But
Oh yeah,
because
I
it
didn't
doesn't snow
feel
that
that it
much in the
was the
south.
deep south. Yeah, I didn't feel that it was the
Um,
deep south either. That's why the accent didn't make sense. And I think that the diction she was using was off on who the character was. And I think the actress was playing what was written. And
right.
I think that that's no fault of her. Everybody gonna need a job, right? But
But
it was I just felt like they could have done better with the only
yeah.
black actress they had in this
Mhm.
group, you know?
Um,
Mhm.
but then also you have to think of the struggles that we have with AI now and how AI doesn't always communicate clearly. It'll like
It could
even
be
like
something like that.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, because I don't even remember what year this movie was from. So I mean,
I
that could
think
be part of it too. That
2019.
they were
Hmm.
trying to, that AI wasn't as advanced, so they're trying to do the like stilted kind of not really just kind of taking everything that they know about Earth, which is only what they got from people's memories, and like trying to mash it into a human interface. And it's not going to work right unless
Yeah,
you need
it
a
didn't.
lot of data. You need a lot of data to make it work. And if you only have,
Mhm.
people's scary memories, you're not going to have good data. So, anyways,
Maybe, but I don't know. I think the writers could have done better. At the end of
yes.
the day, I think the writers at
Absolutely.
2019 could have absolutely done better in the
Mm-hmm.
writing of the
So,
character itself. But we noticed it immediately. Nicole was like, "What's happening here? This doesn't match the character. She's from Chicago. There's snow outside. It's just definitely not in the South. What's happening here?"
And
So it was
and even if
really.
and
Go ahead.
even
I'm
if
sorry.
and even if like Sarah said, like maybe her family was from the South and like you know went to Chicago or wherever they were because they never really say where they are, right?
They
Well, at
never
least
said
I didn't catch
anything.
it.
No,
yeah, it's
But
I
very
didn't.
limited
but
on
even if
information.
that was the case and she's from the South, like it's just why does she need to sound like that? Like she could have just sounded like a grandmama. Like there was no
Yeah,
Like
need.
a
regular.
grandma. Yeah,
Like
not.
Yeah.
like like if you want her to sound like you know, and Sarah, I think that was like where they were going because that was her safe space. She was safe with grandma. Grandmas are like the historians. They like I get that, but it's also like why does she have to sound like it was like the
Stereotypical?
1800s? Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
yes.
Like
Mm-hmm.
like she sounded like, and forgive me, like she sounded like Abraham Lincoln just signed the Emancipation
Yes.
Yes,
There's a
that's
difference
what I'm
between
saying.
Put it
slave
there.
drawl and
Just,
southern
just
drawl.
put it
There's
there.
Yes,
there's a distinction. There's a
Yes,
distinction.
Yeah.
And I think
yes,
they went too far on one end and
yes.
yes,
they couldn't come back. I think it got to a
Mm-hmm.
point where the direction they were giving her was like more slave. And she was like,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Probably, probably. And
Or they
I
probably
don't know.
phrased it more Southern, and the
more
Yeah.
Southerner
more
she
southern.
got, the slaver she's got,
Mm-hmm,
and that's what
mm-hmm,
people don't
mm-hmm,
understand.
More
mm-hmm,
subservient.
Historically
Yeah.
speaking,
mm-hmm.
there is a sound difference when
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
Yeah.
comes from the South and versus someone who
yeah,
is existing in this slave
yeah, yeah,
time.
period. Yeah.
They sound
Mm-hmm.
they're very, very,
Mm-hmm.
very different.
Yeah.
That's a whole
Just
different.
the sheer pronunciation of some of the words. Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
I was watching it. I always talk to myself when I'm watching movies. So I was watching, I was like, during Black History
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Month? Black History
Well, no, but maybe it's good that we're calling this out during Black History
Yes.
Month.
No. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
had to pause. I paused it and looked at Nita, and I was like, "I'm gonna say something, and tell me if I'm off. If I'm off
I
And you were
kilter."
started
like the same
laughing
face.
because
She
I
said,
knew.
"She said I know what you're gonna say." I said, "Does she sound like?" She said, "Yep." I said, "Okay," and I just kept going.
Mhm.
Like
I was like,
It was
yeah,
hurting. It was
like
hurting.
fuck her, yeah.
That took you too far back to your ancestors. Like the ancestors,
it
I
took me
was too
too far
close to
back.
those ancestors.
I was
The
like,
ancestors were like
during
pushing me
Black
back,
History
pushing me
Month.
back.
Lord.
But I think also that was part of the thing that they were trying to express, that they'd been taking people for so long, and that they existed along the whole timeline. They were pulling
Mhm.
people from all times. So maybe that's what they knew. That's their AI data scraping. That's what they were getting from up to that point.
But here's the
Right.
thing:
We don't know.
could be so many
Okay.
things, but they
Yeah.
never said anything, so nobody knew what was happening.
And
Well,
that's
So
and
and
you
then
I
didn't
speculate on.
know. No.
the end
You
kind of
know.
got me like, okay, so they're all like dumped in the snow, and like outside of
Thank
some outside of some,
Yeah.
they're all like all half naked or soaking wet with that black goo, dumped in the snow outside a city, like 5, 10, 15 miles away. They can see it, but they're gonna get to the city and it's snowing
Yes,
and
it looked like about 10 miles away.
and
And
I'm
some
like,
of them were barefoot.
right, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're going to
well,
use
and
a
then like
toe.
some of the I mean, not to judge, but like when I saw all the people there, I'm like, this is so low budget. They just got their family members to come to. I mean, it's like dad, uncle, brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever. And it's just like, oh God, okay.
Y'all want to get
Every
$50 to stand in the snow for a few hours?
yes,
I was I did not understand that ending at
No,
all.
no.
No,
well, and
no.
then like they don't know us. They didn't know anything about us, but now they do, and it's like, okay, so they left, but then they go to the vortex or whatever, the portal or whatever, the wormhole, and then there's more ships. So it's like, so are they coming,
You
So
know
or
what
did they
that
yes,
go
reminded me
somewhere else?
of? Do you know what that reminded me of? Of oh, what's the show, Nita, that we were watching with Seth MacFarlane?
the
Orville.
This
Orville, the
Orville.
Orville.
So it reminded me of the Orville, like when the robots,
Mm,
like they came and was like they
Yes,
were
the
about to. So I
Kalon,
was
the
like,
Kalon.
Yeah, they
yeah, when
came
the
on.
came, it's been a while since I watched it. So when the Kalon came and they came through the wormhole and it's like, okay, it's on. They're about to attack. So when I'm like, what's going on? That's why I think like there was supposed to be a
A
part
sequel or
two.
something.
Yeah.
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 mm-hmm.
So Tiffany, if you were to rate this movie, one being the lowest you could give it, five being
Okay.
five, what the five is like great. One is
Okay.
like, what would you rate this movie?
I'm going to give it a. I was gonna say 2, but now that she reminded me about the slaves draw, I'm gonna say 1.5. If it was
I'm
March,
so
I'd give it a 2. But
sorry.
during Black History Month, we demote a 0.5.
Tiffany, are you okay? Are you okay?
No,
No,
no.
we send you virtual hugs
I'm sorry.
to make you feel
I,
better.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
up until that point, it was
It was,
entertaining. I was kind of like, I mean, it
yeah.
kept my attention because
I was gonna
sometimes
say,
The
I
these
wouldn't say
movies
it was
are low
synopsis
good.
was
budget,
amazing. They
and
gave a
and
Yeah.
great synopsis for
and it was
sure.
like,
I
Now,
said
because I
all
was
I
like,
could
Nicole,
it
say.
took me a while to piece it together because I was like, wait, what? And like, when they all figure out, like, when they're like, oh, you're having a go at me. Oh, it's 2025. No, it's not. You're about 30 years back. It's 2050. Like, wait, what? And we know he's from 1969, and the teacher was from the 70s, and
yes.
the
So,
rock star
so
was
Sarah, what
2029.
do you give it from one being the lowest and five being the highest? How would you give this? How would
It
you
is
what
not
points
the
would you
worst thing I've ever seen, and it didn't be like, what the.
That's
I mean,
scary.
I still kind of. I'd say 2, but Tiffany's right, so 1.5.
No, that's right. Okay. Nicole, what do you give
Hmm.
it?
If I could, I'd give it a 0. So I'm gonna say a 1.
I give it a one. I give it a one as well. This movie has collectively dropped in stars right now.
Yeah.
This was, and the
Sorry,
acting
guys.
was no better. What do you, Tiffany? How did you feel about the acting of the other actors, the ones in the ship? That what was your feel there? Because
Honestly,
sometimes actors do their best even with a bad script.
yeah. I think they were doing their best with the script, and also actors also get direction from the director. So even if it's in the script this way, directors might say, "Oh, rerun that and do it this way." So I think it
Hmm.
felt like a lot of last minute changes were being made on them, and they were just kind of delivering lines. So I'm not gonna
Yes.
fault the actors, but also I think
Mhm.
that there could have been more better direction for them. I don't think they were given good direction.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Sarah, what do you think overall the acting
My
of
turn.
the group of people that were together?
I actually kind of. I think for what they were given and what they had to do, I think because I think from even though there was a lot of
Mhm.
shots of like you looking at this one, I kind of felt that they were all like filmed separately. Does that make sense? And then they were all pieced
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
but they weren't all like on a set and doing it.
Mhm.
Like they had
Mhm.
one set and they put the actor like they had one monster set up and they
Mhm.
put the actor in it and did that person's and then they popped them out and put the next one in. So it
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Which
felt
made
like,
it hard for
when
them to feed off of each other.
right,
Yeah.
which is part
Mhm.
of that,
Right.
but that's also what kind of gave it that uncanny valley that, everybody's like, because
Looking
everybody's
nowhere.
from a different connection, and nobody can actually, interact. And I mean, they
Yeah.
tried, but that could be, budget, direction, all that. And that might have been part of what they were aiming for, because it kind of had that, like, even when he was talking to Sarah, at the end, he's talking to Sarah. No, Sarah, no. And she's like, "This is the way it's got to be." And it's like, I almost said, "This is the way." I was like, "What the fuck?" Um, I mean, because she's like, and then they cut to everybody, and then cut back, and it's just like, I mean, I'm guessing that the budget wasn't very much.
No,
Uh,
it sure
so
wasn't. It
so
sure
so so
wasn't.
so they made a movie, and I think the actors, like Tiffany said, they did the best with what they could, with what they had, and what direction they were
Mm-hmm.
given.
How
Because
about you,
it's
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Nicole? Do you
I
agree with
concur with
that
Tiffany.
conclusion?
I agree. Yeah, I agree with Tiffany and Sarah. I feel like you could only do with what you were given, and I think
Yes.
they did the best with what they had. I
Yeah.
think in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like making you believe, if that was like that's an actor's job, is making you believe that they're this person, and I think they did that. Like I
Mhm.
saw.
Yeah.
I saw a drug addict. I saw a school teacher scared. I
Yeah.
saw
Yes.
a convict. I saw. So they did that. They
Yeah.
like they
Mm.
did that.
Yeah.
Everything else,
Yeah.
like Tiffany said, like they just were. They were set up to fail, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's just how
Basically.
I feel.
But I think that this is the perfect moment to cleanse our palate and
Mm-hmm.
bring some positive, awesome Black history information to share with you guys. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
start with Sarah and the real scientist. Take it away, Sarah.
Okay, this week we have Josephine Ceylon Yates. She was born in New York in 1852. She started school at the age of 6 and was rapidly advanced by her teachers. In fact, at the age of 9, she reportedly studied philosophy, physics, and possessed advanced mathematical ability. At the age of 9, Josephine submitted a story for publication to a New York weekly magazine. Although the article was rejected for publication, she received a letter of encouragement, which increased her ambition to succeed. Josephine, the only black student in her class and the first to graduate from Rogers High School in Newport, Rhode Island in 1877, was selected as class valedictorian. Huge. Her high
Yes.
school teachers encouraged her to attend university, but instead she chose a teachers college, where she again graduated as the only African American student in 1879. She trained in chemistry and became one of the first black professors hired at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri, after receiving her teaching credentials. Upon her promotion, she became the first black woman to head a college science department. She may have been the first black woman to hold a full professorship at any U.S. college or university as the head of the Department of Natural Sciences. At the time, married women were not allowed to teach. So in 1889, she resigned to marry Professor William Ward Yates then the principal of Phillips School in Kansas City, Missouri. Josephine, who later taught at the Phillips School thanks to her husband changing the rules, soon became known and admired as one of the best teachers in the state of Missouri. For most of her life, Josephine also wrote while teaching. She penned newspaper and magazine articles under the alias R.K. Potter, a man, so that she could get them published. By 1900, she expanded her writing to include poetry and had several poems published. She was involved in clubs and organizations that fought for racial and social change. She helped to organize the Kansas City Women's League and was the first president in 1893. After the National Association of Colored Women, NACW, was established in 1896, Yates became one of its most dedicated supporters. She served for 4 years, from 1897 to 1901, as treasurer, and 4 years, 1901 to 1905, as the president. A testament to her accomplishments and acclaim is in a speech presented by a former student, Anna Julia Cooper, in 1893 at the World Congress of Representative Women in Chicago. In, in organized efforts for self-help and benevolence, also our women have been active. The Colored Women's League, of which I am at present corresponding secretary, has active, energetic branches in the South and West. The branch in Kansas City, with a membership of upward of 150, already has begun under their vigorous president, Miss Yates, erection of a building for friendless girls. In 1902, she was recalled by the president of Lincoln Institute to serve as the head of the Department of English and History. In 1908, she requested to resign due to illness, but the Board of Regents did not accept, and she stayed on as an advisor to women at Lincoln University. Her husband died in 1910, after which she chose to return to Kansas City. She died on September 3rd, 1912, after a very short illness. She was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love
She is
that.
amazing. I
I
love
love
that.
that.
And
I love that.
since she was an activist, I wanted to make sure I highlighted her too, because she did a lot of. I didn't like when I picked her. I
Mhm.
didn't. I knew she was an activist and a scientist, but I didn't realize all the first that she was, the
Yeah,
very first Black female professor at any college. That's crazy.
right.
And
Yeah.
a department head. Like what? Okay.
And she
Love
was
that.
able to get that rule changed and able
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
be
and it didn't
married
just
and
benefit
still
her;
work.
it benefited other women. Yes.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely.
we
But
love
we're going to go on to the sci-fi book recommendation. Okay, now today we're going
Ooh.
to be talking about this is a trilogy. So for the entire month of February, we're going to take one of her books and talk about it, okay? And her name is Nnedi Okofaror. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. The book is called Bindi. It is the first of a sci-fi trilogy that follows the journey of Binti, a teenage girl from the Himba tribe in Namibia, who leaves Earth to study at the UMSA University in space.
mm,
Okay, and this is 1234. Binti is the first of the Himba people to attend the university and faces challenges of culture, identity during even war during this time. Okay, this book is the first in a trilogy of African futuristic stories that explore themes of knowledge, diversity, and alien contacts. Okay, and now this book is so good. I actually got the audiobook of this, and they have someone who is um definitely African Nigerian reading the book. So you could really feel the character and the struggles she goes to because she is the first of the Himba tribe that is leaving the tribe to go away to school. She's encountering people from other worlds, other places on Earth, as well as other places in the universe. And she's got this like cultural challenge
mhm.
happening. And it is so well written. It is amazing. I absolutely love that they chose the narrator that they did because it really just gave this book a more authentic feel to it. Now, I did want to,
Mhm.
before moving on to the next segment, speak on the author just a little bit. And every week, I'm going to bring you a little bit more about this author. She's beautiful. Okay, she is a
Mhm.
Nigerian American writer of sci-fi and fantasy for both children and adults. Her website is www.nnedi.com. She was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1974. She has a PhD in English from the University of Chicago, Illinois. This woman is beautiful,
Mhm.
educated, her writing is so good. I cannot begin to tell you. It is so good. It really keeps you captivated and it keeps
Mm.
you. really involved in the story. And the narrator in the audiobook, if you get it on Audibles, she is so good. She makes you feel that she's that child, that teenager
Mm,
going through this struggle, trying not to show how she is shocked, culture shocked, because
mhm,
she's
mhm.
trying to fit in. And it is just lovely, the story. It really is. I can't wait to start. I'm gonna start this weekend the book, the second book. I got all three of them on Audible because I love the first one, and I'm hoping the narrator is the same. Because it
How
would be weird if it wasn't.
yeah. How many hours is the
I
first book on Audible? Do you know?
Honestly, it was only like 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay.
Not
no, that's
Okay.
long,
not bad.
not bad
Okay.
at all. I'm
Meanwhile,
excited.
Dune is 20.
Exactly. It's funny to go there. And the second one, I'm expecting it to be a little bit longer than that. I'll definitely
Okay.
let you guys know. Um, but yeah, definitely it was fantastic. It took a lot of research to find sci-fi
Yeah.
writers that are Black sci-fi writers. And I had to double check the Googling. It was this whole joke with us in our chat
Yeah.
because it gave me the name of some authors, and I go,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
let me go to their website. And I went to their website. I went to his website thinking I would get information about him. And when I see
You
the
did.
picture, he clearly was not a Black man.
You got information all right.
I got information. And then it made me think, why should we have to triple check so much? Like if you do a
Oh,
Google search for Black authors of science fiction books, that's pretty
Mhm.
clear. Like
or
Google gets
or scientists, and I put whatever race or nationality I'm looking for,
Mhm.
female scientists, and like it always throws up men, and I'm like, how, what? And
yes,
then I mean,
Mhm.
this is something that I talk on this for just a second because I
sure.
experienced this week. Um, Whitewashing is real. My friend, and it was something stupid. It was on there's a video, a short video. It was a Key and Peele skit. It's he's at the table drinking the cup of coffee, and he looks out the window, and the nuclear bomb goes off. So then he puts like a whole ton of sugar in his coffee, and then just drinks the coffee. He's like, fuck it. Um, my friend shared it and said, "Oh, this is going to be me. I'm going to give my dog a piece of chocolate, and I'm just going to have all the sugar because I'm diabetic, whatever." But I watched the video and I stopped and I went, "Why is that a white man?" And I looked at it and I watched it. Somebody had taken that video and whitewashed it with AI, and it was over the original video because I watched it. And when he's looking at the camera and he turns back and in like his hands out, you can see his original
Mhm.
arm because his arm's black. And then
Mhm.
and you see I don't know which of the
Yeah.
two actors it is, but you see his face for a second before the AI filter catches back up to it.
Mhm.
And I was like, and I told
Wow.
her, and I showed her the original one, but I'm like, why are people doing that? I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
it's real, but I have never seen, and it's something stupid. It was a 30-second video. Like, why
Mhm.
Yep.
would somebody do? But
Yep.
it's real, and I mean, we need to be aware. Because I was like,
Mhm.
I mean, that's something stupid, but I was appalled, and I was just
Yeah.
like, wait, what? And I
Yeah.
and I and you know I found that I went to YouTube and I found the original skit and I brought it to her and she said and she updated her post with that instead of the other one. But she was
Mhm.
appalled too. She's like, I had no idea. I'd never even seen it before. And I said, well, I'd seen it a lot,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
it was just like, and I think,
And it's a common
you
theme.
know, and I think that
Mhm.
I mean, because I'm the lightest skinned one here. Sorry, y'all. But I think it is part of my responsibility when I see shit like that to call it out
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's 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 unfair to the original
Yeah.
creators. It doesn't it didn't change the
Yeah.
skit at all. It just why is it a white man now? I'm like, well,
Yeah. It's important for you to call it
there
out, not only because you have to, but also because it's geared towards people of your complexion. Like
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
you say this ain't okay, then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, they don't
Hmm.
like it either.
yeah,
We
but
gonna
I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great skit. It didn't matter that it was a black man. I thought it was hilarious. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean,
Yeah, that's
okay, so
crazy.
you're pouring your fake sugar in your coffee. On your coffee break, you look out the window, nuclear bomb goes off. You go, pick up the sugar jar and just fuck it. Not gonna have Splenda anymore. We're gonna have some real sugar today, and it just goes about drinking coffee. And I mean, it's
It's
kind of
just a
like,
simple video that
yeah,
had no purpose in changing the color of the
Of the
person,
race.
but they
Yeah.
right,
did it
and
anyway.
I
And
mean,
it's sort of like saying, because we can
Can.
wash you
right,
away.
and
Yeah.
I mean, and that goes back to the movie, and maybe the director made the grandma talk that way, and then Google did that, and it's just kind of like, we have to
Hmm.
be vigilant and pay.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just like put our heads down. We got to pay attention, because
Yeah.
if you just whatever, that
Yeah.
I say no. It's not okay.
But on that note, we're going to go on to Tiffany. Now, Tiffany has a new segment where she's going to let us know what she's been watching. And that actually is Tiffany as a little girl watching TV.
Didn't you say?
But you have
Okay.
more than just this, right, Tiffany? You're going to also
Yes.
talk about your
Yes.
portion of teaching us about Black
Black
History.
History Month.
So
Yes.
you let me
So
know when you
this
want to go
month,
to the next one.
all right. So this month, as Nita said, I have 2 parts. So I'm gonna get to it. Severance is what I'm watching this week. So the season 2 just started. Well, it started a couple weeks ago. They're on episode 4. I just watched it last night. Left the most eerie feeling in my chest. Oh my God. One of my favorite characters, something bad happened to him. That's all I'll say. I don't want to do too much, because if you say something, it'll spoil the plot lines in the series. And so all I'll say is that in this series, the idea is that when you go to work and you descend in the elevator, you become your inner office person. That's a totally different persona from the person you are in the real world. So your innie and your outie don't know anything about each other. You can't exchange information with them. And it's like there's definitely a conspiracy going on the severed floor, which is what they call the people who are descending down and forgetting their outside lives. They call them severed. There's
Yes.
definitely a conspiracy going on down there. There's a dark, like, this is the kind of sci-fi that you get if you like a thriller. There's definitely lots of science fiction elements, because some of the stuff is impossible.
Yes.
And the twist at the end of season 1, if you haven't seen it, you're lucky that you get season 2 now. Like, my sister just started it and she watched all of season 1 in like one night. And then she's like, is season 2 over? I'm like, no, it just started. So now she's like, I want to wait till it's over, because she doesn't want it. Because I'm telling you, week by week is torture.
It
But
is torture. I'm doing week by week, and I wish I would have started by binging it and like allowing it to happen, because
yeah.
it is torture. Torture.
Did you
torture,
watch the one
torture.
from this week, from yesterday already?
Not yet. I'm watching that tonight,
Okay.
actually.
See, I don't want to spoil. Okay, yeah. So it takes you to a different place. That's all I'll say. You get immersed. You're like an innie when you're watching it. You're immersed into this
Yes.
like environment. Everybody is creepy as shit. Okay, all the workers, all the head honchos, all this, managers and shit. They creepy. It's all creepy. They smile at you like that creepy smile that dude is doing. Like,
Yeah,
it's all
that's that uncanny
creepy.
valley thing that they
Yes, it's
they
all
just
very
don't
creepy.
they
In the
don't fit.
movie Us, or Them, or wait, what was it? Us, in the
Hmm.
movie Us,
Hmm.
where they're like
Yeah.
smiling, like just being like weird and creepy, eerie, like it gives you that
Yeah.
feeling. So yeah, so this
Mhm.
on Apple TV if you want to watch. Season 1 is already fully done, and season 2 is on episode 4. There's going to be 10
Yes.
episodes. All right, moving on. All right, so this week I'm gonna talk every week this month. I'm gonna do a Black person or Black actor or actress that contributed to sci-fi, get a significant footprint in the genre. So this week I'm gonna talk about Halle Berry. So she has 5 projects that I'm gonna highlight. The first one, this one is Moonfall. It's a movie where she plays an astronaut, and in the movie, the moon is falling towards Earth. That's all I'll say. I don't want to ruin it.
I want to
Okay.
watch this.
Next one And of course, she played her iconic role as Storm in the Fox X-Men series. And supposedly, the only way they got Halle Berry to actually play Storm was they lied to her and told her that Storm would have a bigger role.
Right.
Because they very much downplayed her. She could have done more in the animated series. She's a big
Well,
deal.
She's a
So,
big one.
she was huge.
yeah, she was a huge star when they brought her on. This was like one of the selling points. Halle Berry's gonna be there as Storm, but they told her that there would be more backstory about Storm. That she would be able to, explore the character more like they did in the animated series. But they always, every film, they left us wanting more Storm. But so in the new X-Men universe, they're going to be bringing into the Marvel part of the series. Hopefully we'll get another appearance at Halle Berry, because although they have the younger versions of them out already, the Marvel people are saying they're not gonna go with the younger actors. So hopefully we'll get to see her, since they already had Wolverine in the Deadpool movie. Hopefully we'll get to see
Well,
Halle Berry.
I think that was important too, to bridge that gap, because that brought Blade back, that brought all of them back, and that opened the door. So then
they
we
can bring her
get
back. They're gonna have to do some serious soul searching to get her back, though, because they lied to her.
They did. It's called money. It's called lots of money.
And then I wonder how much, she actually filmed and then they cut it. Like, because maybe, maybe she did all that work and then it all ended up on the cutting room floor, because they're like, yeah, no, you don't get that.
They decided to make Wolverine the star of the series.
And it's funny that we're talking about this during I'm sorry. It's funny we're talking about this during Black History Month, because Storm is African. The character Storm is African.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and that's I didn't know. My brother pointed it out that Storm actually was married to T'Challa and was queen of Wakanda for a while.
In the comics,
I was like, what?
Yep. She has a very deep lore, and that's what Halle Berry thought they were gonna at least give some kind of backstory. Like, most of the characters get a little bit of something.
Well, even in that,
they could do a whole movie. They could create a whole movie just for her character.
Yeah.
Even in the terrible one, the Dark Phoenix one. I think the Dark Phoenix one. Yeah. That they had the younger Storm, and she was actually, they showed her Egyptian roots. That was a different girl, but they showed a little bit more of that, like what we wanted, and it was like, and that was the shittiest of the movies. So, like, why couldn't they have given it to her?
Yeah.
Anyway,
exactly.
Sorry.
All right, next one. Okay, so this is
love this.
Oh my god, I was so upset when they canceled this.
Me too.
But the season that they gave you is so good. Okay, so this is Exant. This was a TV show, I think back in 2015, 2014, one of those. Early 2010s. But Halle Berry plays an astronaut in this one as well. This is by Steven Spielberg. So all of the writing is perfect. All of the mystery is perfect. Like, there's so much going on. Like, I don't even want to say, because if you watch it, you're going to be like, what? It only gets one season. They left a lot open. I was hoping for a season 2, but Halle Berry does excellent in this role. And it's another way that she is an astronaut. So I think Halle Berry wanted to be an astronaut when she grew up.
Probably. That would be so cool if she actually did.
Honestly, because she's playing astronaut. You're not going to tell me she's not an astronaut. All right, next one, we have Cloud Atlas. Now, have any of you seen this?
No, but this really looked good. It's on my list.
God. Okay, so let me tell you about it. Okay, so if you can see from the photos, it's Halle Berry and Tom Hanks. They're the two stars of the movie. Now, they play, it goes through like 5 centuries worth of storytelling, and they play a different person in each century, okay? But it's all bridged together. It's like a crazy time travel sci-fi, like over 5 centuries epic story. It's so big. It's so big, guys. Like, I've seen this like 3 times, but it's so big. My only critique for it, and I'm sure you guys will have the same critique, will be one of the characters that Halle Berry plays I could have been doing without, just because of the way they made her play it. But overall, this one is a solid 8.5 out of 10. So
and where can we watch
it's long
this?
as hell, though.
Where can we watch this?
I think Netflix.
I got it
want
open
to
on
say
MB.
Netflix.
I got it open on
Okay.
IMDb. So hold on, I'll tell you. I gotta get it.
Okay. Prime
Paramount.
Video. Okay, yeah,
Prime
Paramount.
Video
Okay.
and Paramount Plus.
I
Okay.
believe it's
Prime Video, you got to pay for it, but Paramount, it's streaming. It says seasons 1 and 2.
oh no, this is a movie.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Cloud
you
Atlas.
have
Oh,
the one.
I'm still looking at Extant. Hold on, I'm getting
Oh.
for you. Sorry.
It's free on Prime Video
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
and Amazon Freebie.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's long as hell, I will tell you, but it's worth it. I think it's like 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
that's
it's an
why.
epic movie. It's an epic movie. Like it starts off, it goes through each time period to like the future, like futuristic type stuff. But it's a good
Oh,
one.
okay.
It's a really good one. And I think
Excellent.
that using her in it was a good choice.
Oh,
And that
excellent.
is
Excellent.
it.
Yes. And we've come to the end of our podcast. Before we go, I do want to share that our next podcast will be February 14th, Valentine's Day. And we're going to be talking about Star Trek romance. And we have special guest is Rose. She's coming back to talk about the romances and the relationships that Star Trek has had because it is Valentine's Day. We are going to continue celebrating Black History Month, and we're going to be bringing you more information to learn, more information for you to enjoy, and just know what's going on with women in Black History Month. And this is going to lead to our celebration of Black History Month on the 21st of February. Okay, so our next episode will be Friday the 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But thank you, Nicole, for joining us again
Thank
to
you
No
for
review
having
the
me
problem.
again.
movie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany and Sarah, for being here. This was so much fun hanging out with you guys. And you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching the Sci-Fi Queens. And be sure to support us on all our social medias. And check out our website. Thank you for watching the Sci-Fi Queens. And be sure to support us on all our social medias. And check out our website.